There is so much noise out there about GLP-1s, so much controversy over Ozempic, tirzepatide, other GLPs. What is a GLP? Does it hurt you? Does it help you? Do you lose muscle? Do you not lose muscle? Should you take it? Should you not take it? We're going to go over what a GLP is and what it does and my recommendations. Stick around for the whole thing so you get all the information. GLP stands for glucagon-like peptide. It's a natural occurring peptide in your body that's released in the gut. That's a hormone that's responsible for controlling blood sugar. It slows digestion and also sends a signal to the brain on your hunger levels. So it also helps with controlling hunger signals. GLP increases naturally through protein, high fats, and fibers. That's why protein, high fats, and fibers tend to make us more full, is mainly because of the GLP response. So when people talk about GLPs, they're talking usually about the lab-made ones. So they're the GLP agonists, meaning that they are synthetic and they are meant to be a peptide similar to the one that is made in our body. The only difference is that it has a longer half-life, meaning rather than lasting moments in our body like natural GLP, it lasts a lot longer, like hours and days. So people take the GLP because they are wanting to control their blood sugar and they're also wanting to control their hunger level. But there's so many benefits past controlling blood sugar and controlling your hunger level. We're going to discuss that right here. So beyond helping to control blood sugar, the GLP receptor agonists also help decrease the risk of heart disease. It helps decrease the risk of stroke. It helps decrease fatty liver disease. It has a helpful effect on your renal function. It helps control blood pressure. It helps with sleep apnea. And it also has neurodegenerative protection. So there's research to show that you have a decreased risk of Alzheimer's disease with GLP agonists. And there's some research to show a decrease in depression and anxiety with GLP agonists and more mental clarity. So there are a whole host of benefits associated with GLP agonists. And GLPs do tend to decrease over time with age. So keep that in mind that, again, our body does naturally produce it, but it does decrease with age. GLP also significantly decreases during menopause. And this is one of the reasons why women have such a hard time during menopause and suddenly notice this huge weight gain and their blood sugar's all whacked out because their GLP is not where it should be. So just keep that in mind. Again, there's natural ways to increase your GLP through eating higher protein, more healthy fats like salmon, and then also more soluble fiber. But if you are not getting your proper level of GLP, you might want to consider possibly taking a GLP agonist. And that leads us to the level of controversy out there. There is so much controversy with GLPs, and honestly, GLPs were around decades before all this controversy started. Historically, this controversy started once it was introduced into the weight loss world and people started taking it to lose fat and for the only reason to lose fat. And that's where so much noise came from. So, and people not taking it correctly and having disastrous results. So we're going to go into all that and talk about how to take it, when to take it, and if you are taking it, what you should do to get the best effect. One of the greatest disasters that has happened with the GLP, again, with examples are Ozempic and tirzepatide, those are the most popular, is side effect of muscle loss. So people are losing a lot of muscle with these drugs. And the reason why they're losing a lot of muscle is because they're losing a lot of weight. So keep in mind that regardless of your modality of weight loss, it being extreme, and the situation it was extreme, then you will lose muscle. And that is if you do a very high caloric deficit or any other weight loss plan where you're losing a significant amount of weight. If you want to keep weight loss in a healthy level, again, I've talked about this in other videos, you want to lose no more than 1 to 1.5, max 2% your body weight every week. If you're losing more than that, chances are you're losing muscle and you don't want to do that. Remember, muscle is the panacea to overall health. Muscle is going to reduce your risks of age-related diseases. And one of the worst things about aging is sarcopenia, which is the loss of muscle over time. And that increases the risk of hip fractures, which is almost the kiss of death. And you want to make sure that you are keeping your muscle. It's also going to help with your basal metabolic rate, as well as many other functions. So you don't want to sacrifice your muscle tissue. Overall weight is something that unfortunately is going to include that tissue, so you have to keep that in mind, but you need to make sure that you're not losing that muscle. So the biggest problem that people have with these medications is that people have lost a lot of muscle. And it's because when people are taking these medications, they're not eating enough and they're not eating correctly. So what you need to do is you need to eat enough and you need to eat correctly. These medications are very effective in fat loss. So there's a lot of literature that shows, which I'm going to point to right here, that you can lose up to 3/4 of your weight in fat on these medications, which is pretty significant. So the way that you can protect your body from losing the majority of that tissue in muscle mass, or even like half of that in muscle mass, is to eat enough protein. We've talked about it in this video of how much protein you should ideally be intaking, which I recommend 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, or per pound of ideal body weight if you're overweight. So it's important to keep that in mind, because if you aren't doing that, then you're not sending the right signal to your body. Now remember, our body is like a building and you need an architect. And the architect is going to be, or the plan is going to be, muscle stimulation, i.e. weight training. So if you have to do weight training, and you have to have the supplies to make the building. The supplies are your protein. So if you have the supplies but you don't have the plan, the building isn't going to spontaneously form. Just because you're eating enough protein does not mean you're not losing the muscle. It's going to slightly decrease your likelihood of losing that muscle, but it's certainly not going to protect you overall, and it's certainly not going to allow you to build muscle. The only way to both preserve your muscle and build muscle is to have the stimulation and to have the supplies. So the stimulation, again, is going to be weight training. Weight training, you want to weight train ideally at 2-3 times a week, and you want to do whole body workouts, and you want to work out all the muscles you want to keep. If you aren't working out that muscle, your body's going to break it down. So keep that in mind. And you also want to be getting enough protein. And you want to space that out, ideally through 4 meals a day, in order to get all of the protein requirements that you need. There is a myth that GLPs cause muscle loss, and it's not the case. Again, it's because of the appetite suppression that causes the muscle loss and the extreme weight loss that causes the muscle loss. So the GLPs have zero effect on muscle tissue. They do not magically make muscle just disappear. What's creating that muscle tissue loss is due to that caloric deficit, because people just aren't aware of how little they're eating. And just like when people aren't on medication and they get overweight because they're not aware of what they're eating. The key here is to be aware of what you're eating. So if you are going to take these medications, it is absolutely paramount for your overall health and longevity that you are aware of what you're eating, and you need to be more on top of it with this medication than you were without this medication. You need to make sure that you are tracking your calories and your macros, specifically tracking your protein. And if you are not hungry enough to get in all the protein that you need and all the calories that you need, then you need to change things up. You need to talk to your doctor, and you need to decrease that dose. Another reason why muscle is so important is muscle is going to work in tandem with the GLP-1s. It's going to make it more effective. Did you know that about 80% of the glucose that you eat gets then stored into your muscle? So the more muscle you have, the better your body is able to control the glucose that's going into your body, which is the reason why people take these medications in the first place. So the more muscle you have, the better your body is able to control that blood sugar, which is going to have a direct effect on the effectiveness of the GLP. Think of GLPs like the car, and think of your muscle as like the road system or the freeway system. So they work in tandem together. And the more roads you have, the less congestion there is, and the more options, and the easier it is for things not to have all packed up like traffic, like on a freeway, because there's less room for things to move into. So the more muscle you have, the less congestion you have, and then the better everything is able to work. If you lose too much muscle and you have less roads, the traffic, i.e. the GLP or your car, is going to slow down and get congested. This is what leads to weight loss plateaus. So keep that in mind as well. Many patients are on these medications again for weight loss. So yes, they will lose some muscle, but honestly, if they're on top of things and they're keeping track of their protein and they're exercising, they could gain muscle. So I've seen many people on these medications gain muscle while they're on them. So it is completely possible. But let's say they don't gain muscle and they aren't on top of it and they aren't tracking their protein. Most people, excess fat can cause a whole host of issues. So for most people, it is more healthy for them to lose that excess fat and risk losing some muscle than to stay overweight. Because again, being overweight, it's not about body shaming or anything like that, but from a medical standpoint, it causes inflammation, and inflammation can cause many problems. And interestingly enough, GLPs, guess one of the things they do? They decrease overall inflammation. So there's a huge benefit there as well. So there's these patients that are on these medications and suffering these negative side effects of losing muscle. It's far better than the alternative, quite frankly. So if you are taking these GLPs, do not fear. You are not going to lose your muscle. You just have to be more on top of things. So make sure you are prioritizing that protein. Make sure you're counting it. Make sure you're using an app that's making you accountable. Like I use MyFitnessPal. It's very effective. And I use that, I've been using that for decades. It's a wonderful app. And I've talked about that in other videos. And then make sure that you're getting enough exercise and you're stimulating that muscle. When I'm talking about exercise, I'm not talking about cardio. I'm talking about strength training, because you need to give your muscles a reason to stick around. Your body, when it's losing tissue, is going to steal from expensive tissue, and your tissue, that is your muscle, is very expensive for your body to maintain. It's not going to keep it around. It's going to want to get rid of it. So you have to give your body a reason to keep that expensive tissue and say, no, don't take this. We need this. So that's why I said, if you don't work out those muscles, you're not going to keep them. Work out the muscles you want to keep. Make sure you're working out every muscle group that you want to keep, which I recommend full body workouts, again, 2-3 times a week, 4 to 5 if you really are like into bodybuilding and you want to increase that level. But this is going to help preserve that muscle, and again, it's going to even help you gain muscle. There's no reason why you can't gain muscle on a GLP. And with the GLP levels, make sure you're communicating with your doctor about your dosing, because the dosing does not necessarily have to go at the recommended level that the pharmaceutical companies recommend. I'm a big believer in getting the least amount required to get the results that you need. So you do not have to take more if you're getting the results that you need, and you're getting effective results that are decreasing your weight and decreasing your appetite to a point where you're still able to consume enough protein, and you're getting the results of mental clarity, but you're not taking so much that you can't consume the protein and you're not feeling good and you're having all these other negative side effects. So be in communication with your doctor about that and be wise about it. The lower, the better. The minimal effective dose is always the best dose. So again, make sure you're communicating with your doctor on that. I hope that clears things up and helps get rid of some of that controversy out there. I know I've had a lot of patients come to me with confusion on that, so I just wanted to clear that up for you. Please contact us on the link below if you're interested in being a client. We're always open to helping other people out there, and we have had such success and very, very excited to have you join our team. If you want more information on how to set up your best macronutrient plan, please refer to a video here, and I hope to hear from you soon. Have a blessed day. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and like, comment, and share this video if it was a blessing to you. Here's another video for you to watch. Have a blessed day.